You might have walked into a specialty coffee shop recently and were asked, do you want to try our Ethiopian washed or our Tanz washed? Well, what is a washed coffee? What makes it different? And aren't all coffees washed? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to Coffeeshop Vibes. Welcome to Ispirare Coffee. I'm Mike. Today we're going to be talking about washed coffees. What are they? What do they taste like? If you love coffee, will you love washed coffees? And aren't all coffees washed? What's a non-washed coffee? All the details and more here on Coffeeshop Vibes. This is a bi-weekly show I do to help enhance your specialty coffee shop experience. So if you love coffee, you go to specialty coffee shops. If you're like us, you know, us being me and my wife, we fell in love with coffee. We go to different coffee shops. Every time we traveled, it ultimately led us to start our own coffee company and open our county's first specialty coffee shop in a small town in Western PA. We love talking about coffees. We love answering coffee questions, and we hope, or I hope, you subscribe to our videos as well. All right, guys, so washed coffees, well, that's the most common way that you're going to find coffees. And what is a washed coffee technically? It's quite simple. After the coffee is picked, of course, it's a coffee fruit, right? And the coffee bean is actually the seed inside the fruit. They run it through a depulper, something to take basically the bean out of the fruit, right? But the fruit is kind of wet, and it has what they call like mucilage and pulp on it. You know, not something nice, right? So typically, that coffee then, in a wash scenario, is actually ran through water and cleaned. Now, you might have heard of honey processed coffees or natural processed coffees, where they actually take that coffee with the stuff on it, the extract of the fruit on it, and they place it out to be dried or somewhere to be dried, and it sits like that, and that puts more sugars into the coffee and makes it for a much sweeter coffee. That's what a honey processed or natural processed coffee is. Then a video on that, I'll put it in the links. A washed coffee is very simple. Soon thereafter, extracting the coffee bean or the seed, they wash it. Now, what does washing do to a coffee? Well, this is the important part, right? And we just got a new washed coffee in from Papua New Guinea, the first time we've ever done a coffee from Papua New Guinea. And it is a washed coffee, of course. But what did I know? Knowing that it was a washed coffee, I know it was going to have a nice, clean finish, right? It's going to be less sweet. It's going to be a true coffee drinker's coffee. If you love coffee, which I think a lot of people do, right, and you don't love exotic coffees that taste like notes of jasmine or very floral notes or very, very sweet notes, blueberries, strawberries, etc., right? Those are going to be typically your honey processed or your natural processed coffees, particularly where they're coming from based on origin. Add those together and you're going to get a very sweet coffee. Washed coffees are not going to be as sweet. They're going to be a little bit cleaner, crisper, have a more traditional, what most people consider traditional coffee feel. If you're like my wife, you don't like the sweet coffees, you're going to be looking for a washed coffee. Very rarely are washed coffees marked. Now, some places are starting to mark them on their menu as washed, but just note that if it's not marked, it is a washed coffee. Almost everywhere will note if it's a honey processed or natural processed coffee. Now, washed coffees are actually dried in the sun too, just like the other coffees most of the time, or they can be dried in the shade or on raised beds, whatever that may be. The biggest difference to the consumer, though, is quite simple, right? They're going to be a more holistic, kind of more traditional coffee. They're gonna have a nice cleaner finish, a little bit, maybe some darker notes as well. You won't be able to tell the difference by just holding some beans, but you'll notice a honey processed or natural processed coffee is going to smell a lot different, smell more fruity, where washed coffee is going to smell, I guess, more like a traditional roasted coffee. So that's the difference. And again, it will probably not be labeled on the menu. Sometimes it will, but the other coffees are almost always labeled on the menu because they're sweeter, have more exotic flavors. So there you go. That's everything I think you need to know about washed coffees and going to a specialty coffee shop. If you want some, try some, consider this. This is pretty good. I'll put a link in the bio as well, guys. And hopefully you subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Live inspired.